Refurbs and auctions. So essentially, when it comes to bridging finance, these are the two biggest uses of bridging finance. So when it comes to refurbs, the reason why you're using bridging finance is because normally the property is unmortgageable, or you're looking to add value and then refinance, or just in general you just need to move a bit quicker than you normally would. Similarly with auctions as well, the reason you're using bridging finance is because there's a 28-day deadline that you've got to meet, and buy to let, just with the best will in the world, is never going to happen in 28 days. So that's where bridging finance comes in on an auction purchase. One thing with auctions to bear in mind is that obviously they're forever changing things with auctions, so always check whether you've got 28 days or 56 days. A lot of the auctions that we've been seeing recently are now pushing to 56 days. Obviously, if you've got those 8 weeks rather than 4 weeks, you could potentially go with a buy to let rather than a bridge, so you could in effect save yourself quite a bit of money depending on the state of the property, etc. Worth keeping that in mind. When it comes to the refurb, the bridging company are essentially going to be lending you money based on what it's worth now, with the view to you adding value and then moving on to a buy-to-let in order to refinance all your money out. When it comes to a bridge on refurb, one thing to bear in mind is if you take a bridging facility, they're not going to lend you anything towards the works. So you have to be very aware that if you take a bridging facility for a refurb, you're going to be responsible for all the build costs and you're going to be responsible for taking it from a shell to a fully finished property. With auctions as well, one thing to bear in mind as well is that when you go for your bridging finance, they'll give you an agreement in principle, which is specific to each property. They don't give you you can borrow up to X amount, it's always specific to the property. But one thing is that AIP is not an offer of finance. And in fact, actually, the offer of finance doesn't happen until the valuation's taken place and the legals are fairly well advanced. So one thing to bear in mind is if you're taking bridging finance for an auction purchase, is that there may be a risk that it falls through. So keep that in mind and obviously have a backup just in case, whether it be a second bridging lender or whether it be cash. But you need to keep in mind that there is always that risk that could fall through. But that's where bridging finance is the most effective, is refurbs and auctions.